Welcome to Fabulously Flawed, where the perfectly imperfect come to shine. Marni, along with her sensational sidekick Taylor, are the mother-daughter duo that puts the fun in dysfunction. Every episode, we unpack the chaos of mental health while sprinkling in the sass of pop culture. We're here to share stories, laughs, and lessons that remind you to embrace your quirks and to never, ever let anyone dull your sparkle. So join us as we celebrate the beauty of being fabulously flawed. Let's get real, let's get raw, and let's get ready to add a little extra shimmer to your day.
Hey, fabulously flawed friends, fabulous listeners, fabulous everybody. Welcome to Fabulously Flawed. I am your host, Marni, and joining me normally would be my spectacular, sensational sidekick daughter, Taylor. She had her wisdom teeth removed, so I don't think she's going to be talking this week. So for today, you have just me, which I'm kind of glad because it's World Suicide Prevention Day, and talking about it is so important, but it's still a trigger for Taylor and I because she had to come rescue me, which I'm going to talk about in this episode. I don't want it to be dark, but it is September is Suicide Prevention Month, Suicide Awareness Month. This is World Suicide Prevention Day. The amount of people that lose their lives, one every 40 seconds, somebody dies by suicide globally. Every 40 seconds. Take a second to think about that statistic. 1 out of 5 people, which when this survey was done was pre-COVID, so I have to believe the numbers have changed a little bit, but 1 out of 5 people suffer from a mental health condition. And I'm going to say most people are not aware that they have a mental health condition, do not want to treat it. They think it's a personal failure. And having those untreated conditions can lead to somebody to be suicidal. Now, bringing up the conversation about suicide, I promise you, does not make anybody suicidal. Nobody also just wakes up one day and wants to end their life. It doesn't happen like that at all. People are afraid to come forward to a doctor or whomever, to a teacher, to a trusted relative, to a parent, because they think it's a weakness, they're broken, they don't want people to know, and that's because of this stupid friggin' stigma. Since man-time, I guess, it has either been an all or nothing. You're either cuckoo crazy, we're locking you up and treating you like an animal, or you can live with some sort of mental health condition like people have done for years and just you say she's crazy or overreact to things or not know how to regulate emotions. And, it's amazing in 2024, almost 25, that we're still trying to educate and let people know that there is no health without mental health. You have physical health, you have mental health. I mean, everybody has both, but when you're mentally healthy, you're able to enjoy life and feel good and being able to deal with emotions of stress and despair and sadness in a healthy way. Like the way I am aware of every single sound, situation, person, every second I am encounter throughout my 24 hours in a day, I am so aware of why am I feeling this way. If I start to feel a little bit rocky, a little bit rough, I pause. I remind myself nothing is urgent. Everything is figure outable. Let's stay in this moment. And so much stress and anxiety is coming from people that you're not living in a healthy place. If you're thinking of what used to happen and I can't believe this happened and why did this happen to me, you're living in the past. And if you keep saying, but what if that's going to happen? Oh no, I'm so afraid if that happens and to go there, what if that happens? You're not living in the present, you're living in the future. To live in a peaceful way is to live in the right here and the right now. Does not mean everything's happy, does not mean it, we're not robots, but when you are angry or sad, you understand why, you're able to regulate it, you're not going to throw yourself and bang your head against a tree or whatever it may possibly be. I'm just being a little bit of an exaggeration here, but unhealed mental health conditions put people, there's warning signs and there are risk factors for people that are suicidal. And the younger generation, it's starting too young. And I need to really, I wish I could shake every teenager, not really, but look them in the face and say, for the love of God, stop bullying and fix yourselves. I wish the people being bullied could look at the people bullying them and say, go fuck yourself and stop projecting. I'm 54 years old, and it's very easy for me to say, oh, yeah, but I have been bullied. I have been pretty much everything. I have been knocked down and pretty much locked in a coffin of basement of despair since I was born. Now that, I mean, it's ironic. I didn't even realize this. It's Suicide Prevention Day. And when I was born, my mother tried to take her own life. So from birth, I was doomed. And when she went into a mental hospital, my grandmother came to visit and saw her painting, which clearly is a form of therapy. My grandmother was like, oh, hell no, I'm taking care of your 2 kids and you're doing arts and crafts. Let's go. So my mother never got the treatment that she needed. So our relationship, not talking to her, has nothing to do with the crack addiction she had in 87 or the crack relapse in 23. It's how she treats me in present day and the things she has said to me, says to me. It's horrible. It's evil. And she used to say, what are you sad about? You have a great house. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. If you have look, I'm not saying you're not blessed if you wake up with a roof over your head, because I multiple times in my life did not have that. You are blessed if you have food, if you have family. I'm taking notes, so I circle back. I know my ADHD and Taylor's not here, but I do have my pen and my paper to remind me where I left off. My whole life, I was just told, you're so klutzy, you're so weird, you're so lazy, you're so this, and I believed it. And then I found out I had ADHD and I became enraged. My untreated mental health conditions, because you have, like I was saying, the risk factors for people and warning signs. One of the risk factors for somebody could be if they were bullied, they have untreated mental health conditions, something tragic just happened in their family and it's not discussed. I've talked about this before, but since we're talking about bullies, God, I guess I've never really recovered, because every time I talk about it, I get like my hand just went into like a fist to start the story. So I just noticed my body language. I just tensed up, which means I really need to heal more from this. It was 1985, December. It was the last day before winter break. I had a planned trip to New York City, shocker, with my friend Rachel. And it was the last period and the bell rang and I go up the stairs and I see all these papers everywhere, and I pick it up and it said 161 ways to describe Marni M. And I'm reading it, and it took about the 5th description, from fat, whore, slut, pig, wasn't fabulous, spectacular, amazing, gorgeous, to say, wait, that's me. And it was one of the most horrifying moments of my life. I mean, I've had many horrifying events to happen to me, but this one sticks out. I already felt pretty worthless that the 2 fathers I had left. I had a mother that I was it was just always, I guess, crazy in my house, and the world I lived in, we were always different. The mother-daughter living in the apartment, not the traditional family in the neighborhood. So I've always felt like an outsider and weird. So let's add to that and give me 161 ways to reinforce that into my brain. Now, imagine if this were today. This was 1985. Today, it would have been tweeted, retweeted. It would have gone viral. I don't know what I would have done. I probably might have snapped. I don't know. But there was no 988 to call, being in distress, which, dear God, there is today. 4 years ago, I needed 988, which is the 3-digit number I pray everybody can remember, tell somebody about. I know suicide is such a hard topic, but every day you turn on the news, you hear murder, suicide, murder, suicide, murder, suicide. Every day I cannot take it, because people think it's an easy way out. And it is not. It's heartbreaking that people are so afraid to reach out. They're like, oh, I don't want people to think I'm nuts, so let me just kill myself. I mean, oh, I don't want people to think I'm crazy, but I'm just going to overreact as the soccer coach or the cheer coach, or nothing against coaches. That just popped out of my head. I had an appointment earlier with the wife of a soccer coach who was not happy. So that was just on my brain. But anyway, our mental health we can't function without it. And again, it doesn't always mean being happy, but it means taking care and prioritizing yourself. And when you have mental health, you can have physical health. It's like when you're physically healthy, you can walk better than when you're not physically healthy. They work hand in hand, and it's horrible that people just don't want to accept the fact that there's something called mental health, mental illness. You get physical illness, and nobody shames you for, God forbid, diabetes, thyroid condition, heart condition. Nobody shames you for that. And everybody mourns suicide, but nobody wants to talk about depression, which I think this episode is going to be titled, Everybody Mourns Suicide, but Won't Talk About Depression. That has to friggin' stop. We need to start telling our children when they are little, when they're learning ABCs, they need to learn I love me. You need, parents, if you're listening, tell your children in the morning, today I am smart. When I make a mistake, I try again. I believe in myself. Today I choose happiness. I am creative. I am a good friend. Even in adults, you could say this too. Affirmations are life-changing. What you feed your brain, it believes, and it believes you. So if you sit there going, oh, I'm so gross, nobody likes me, I'm such a failure, that's the only thing you're going to attract is probably nothing because of that attitude. But if you can say, I'm safe, when I fall, I get back up, I can make a difference, I am in charge of my own happiness. Yes, everybody, we are in charge of our own happiness. Stop the blaming. Well, he made me feel this way. No, he didn't. Do you love yourself? Yes. Well, then how can anybody say something to you that would make you feel any less of yourself? I mean, people, literally, I put myself out there. I mean, the only thing I do is cover myself with clothes, but my emotional vulnerability is stripped naked in front of you guys, stripped naked, but not stepping out of my comfort zone, I love myself enough that I'm putting myself in this emotional vulnerability place where I know I am cringe for some. I know the people that mock me because they have mocked me to my face, so I am well aware of the mocking, but I don't care. Who the fuck cares? Thank you, you're mocking me. Worry about your own life because you don't get this minute back. So I know the people and the things that they have mocked and judged me for is their own jealousy. But I'm strong enough. A lot of people are not. A lot of people in this day and age are using social media as their outer validation. If you look for it, you'll never be happy. It has to come from within. So a lot of influencers have died by suicide. They are doing whatever they are promoting, and they're reading their bad comment. They're reading the bad comments. She's this, she's that, whatever. He's this, he's that. They believe it because they were not mentally healthy to put themselves out there. And a lot of that unhealed pain, the triggers that come with being spoken about, their validity comes from how many likes and or views, and they're not getting it. They're ending their life tragically. And parents, opening up the conversation with your children is normal. And I know teenagers and kids, they don't talk. You get one-word answers. But there is a difference between typical teenage angst behavior and some of these warning signs that kids could be possibly suicidal. If you hear your children talking about how worthless they are, if you hear them talking about wanting to die, if you hear them talking about, I don't want to take, let's say they're on the football team. I decided I'm not doing football anymore. Now, you could lose a game. Hypothetically, your son's in football. He loses a game. He missed the kick. He's depressed. But then you can also take that situation and have a child who misses the kick. He's depressed. He now quits the team, stops hanging out with his buddies. He is taking it to a completely different extreme. It goes on for more than 2 weeks. That's something where you would intervene. There's a healthy way to there's a healthy way to manage your emotions. That was an unhealthy way. But again, I know teenagers, it's so hard, but pay attention to the isolation if they more than they normally would do. If they're changing their looks, if they are eating more or less. I know, so myself included, we're like ostriches. We put our heads in the sand, but it's time to take our heads out of the sand, wake up and see what's going on with our children. It starts at home. It starts with us. Wherever you are right now, just like pause. Okay, how can I flip the narrative? How can I help my family instead of, why are you doing this? What's going on here? Yelling at everybody. The child who can't finish their homework. Maybe if you sat down, I didn't mean to say this in a dismissive way, possibly sitting down with your child and, okay, I'm not retaining this like I should be possibly retaining it. Maybe I need to get tested. Maybe I might have ADHD. Maybe I might have some sort of sensory, hearing, whatever it might be. There was a child who couldn't see far away in the class and would talk to just get out of learning. Finally, when the child got glasses, moved to the front, it was a different child. Teachers aren't even really aware what to look for. They're so bombarded today. And it's just, my heart goes out to every teacher out there. Like, you guys are heroes. But it's in your classroom. And I know some teachers would want to be educated with things to look for. And that withdrawn from normal activities and parents, caregivers, whoever it may be, if you notice these things that are more severe than the norm, I know teenagers don't give you, or kids don't give you the best conversations, but you can engage, like, how do you, make the conversation. You don't have to be forceful, but really try and pay attention to the wordage, because you can have people that there are children that are risk factors. They have an untreated mental health condition. They had a tragic loss in their family. They just moved from a new city. So their emotions could be a little bit rocky. So you kind of just, okay, how are you doing? Everything good? How's your classes, your friends? Just, monitor it. The warning signs are the more extremes. If you see them trying to hurt themselves or not eating, we as parents, caregivers, aunts, uncles, whomever, all of us, as cats, we know our kittens, and our instincts are so important. Bring up the conversation. How are you? Okay. No, how are you really? It's okay. And if your child doesn't want to talk to you, maybe there's a trusted friend. There's 988. There's NAMI. NAMI is a free resource in every city. NAMI Miami, NAMI Dade, NAMI Miami, NAMI. Hello, I'm stuttering over myself talking about the same city. NAMI Miami, NAMI Broward. In every city you are, National Alliance of Mental Illness. They have something to help everybody. It is free. That is why I really wish this world can spend more money funding mental health than all the other nonsense that they're arguing about. But that's a completely different episode. But everybody, even if you as an adult are struggling right now, I can promise you on my life. And again, I've made that wager of $5,000. Maybe I'll up it to $10,000. Read my book, people. If you're not inspired or feel good about your life or resilient after reading it, I'll give it to you. But I know I am that powerful that my life was supposed to be so rock bottom to help me rise, to share with everybody that you're supposed to go through dark times. It's going through them like a wave. You don't jump out of it, like feel the wave, like go through the wave and then the shoosh. But you gotta feel it to heal it. And I know nobody wants to feel things. Nobody likes talking about things. It brings up things from our past, but you got to heal those things within you. Somebody, if you hear the ice cream truck coming and all of a sudden it puts somebody in a sweat and they start getting nauseous and you look at them and what's wrong with you? And they're like, no, I'm fine. You don't realize that somebody, God forbid, Well, I know somebody that was molested in an ice cream truck. So you don't know what's the backstory to people. So just be kind. All of you people that are so judgy and you care so much about what somebody else does. Why? Why do you care so much if they dress that way, or if she has a Stanley Cup, or if they go on vacation, or if they got a new car? How does that affect your life? It doesn't. It only reinforces that I think you need to take care of your insecurities and yourself. And yes, I'm giving tough love to everybody out there, but I used to live for approval, lived for approval. It was like oxygen for me. My husband, before we got divorced, the unhealed version of us, because if you're leaving me with a mind to wander and he's not talking to me, he's thinking about how hungry he is. I'm thinking, okay, he's mad at me. What did I do? Subconsciously, I get on the defensive. Now an argument's happening. It's just ridiculous how our mind goes all over the place when we are not healed. The healed version of me knows now, I bet you're hungry, or I just am so confident within that I have healed so much. It slides off my tongue effortlessly the way I talk about mental health. Literally, it's like talking about the weather. And I know people look at me sometimes and I will say, I have social anxiety. I don't know what's going on right now. So if I'm talking a lot, that is probably the reason. And it's kind of like an icebreaker, but it's the truth. And I am one of the very, very few authentic people. What you see is what you get. There is nothing phony about me. Do I love sprinkles and pink and glitter? Yes. Am I a trauma survivor, a badass? And I don't think anybody could have survived a day in my life that I have lived through. Probably not. This is the reason I think 988 is, so that's why I'm a badass and I can't let what anybody thinks about me disturb me at all. Because walk a mile in my shoes, and I can also promise the things I've thought about myself are way worse than what you could say about me. But there was, during COVID, there was a situation with my family where I was breaking down so bad on the floor, crying hysterically in a fetal position. Something triggered me. I don't remember what it was, but my husband and son slept somewhere else. I couldn't find them. Their location was not on. That triggered abandonment, leaving me, being alone, the scared feeling, the abruptness, the yelling. It triggered everything in me. I wanted to die. I wanted to die. Now, I wasn't going to jump off my balcony. I wanted the pain to end. My daughter was in Washington. And I called her, please come help me. Come help me. Thank God. Thank you that somebody came out with the 988, because I could have had somebody on the other end or a crisis mobile unit, which, let me say, side note, in 2 years since 988 has been there, less than 1% has needed a crisis mobile unit, which means somebody just needs someone to be there for them. I had to call my daughter. She was 20, and it was 4 a.m. She caught a flight. It was on Spirit. It was in the middle of the night flight, or like 5 o'clock in the morning, to save me. I know that moment, forgetting everything else in our life, has traumatized her, and she is triggered by it, which is kind of a reason I'm glad she's not here today. And then in 2021, I was living in Jacksonville. My daughter was going to school. My daughter Taylor was going to school in Gainesville, and my husband was in another city working, we were all like within an hour of each other, but in a triangle, like if you think of it that way. So it was a horrible time from the minute I stepped foot there, January 21, until December 21. And I called my daughter. It was a Sunday night. I don't know exactly what triggered me, but I wanted to die. I think I might have said something along the lines of, I want to go in the garage and just turn on my car and go to sleep. I mean, I was desperate. I was so uncontrollably, so sad and so depressed. It was a Sunday night. She had just taken Benadryl, and driving from Jacksonville to Gainesville, it's kind of just these two one-lane highways. So in the dark, my baby girl had to come save me again. She should not have done that. The awareness it brought her and the compassion she learned, but I know that still haunts her today, and she's always saying to me, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? And we realize she does that because that fear of those moments of coming to save your mother, wanting to die, because I don't have a relationship with my mother, it's unimaginable. I can't imagine saying that, but to rescue someone, but for my baby girl to hear that from me, I mean, I don't feel guilt about it, but I have learned that my healing has been such a journey, and I have loved every second of it. I have, since the past 5 years, January 2019, I made this one video saying, hey, everybody, it's okay not to be okay. I'm really depressed. Nobody talked about it, but people reached out to me and they said, me too. I'm not alone. I'm not alone. I'm not alone. And that started this path of wanting to help people find their peace, wanting people not to end their lives that they have. My life is just starting at 54. Right now, my life is just surging. Had I given up, I wouldn't have the wisdom, the experience, the knowledge, the passion I have here talking to you guys. So what may seem bad, it probably is the most tragic, but it doesn't stay tragic forever. Visit those emotions, but don't unpack there. Don't live there. It is normal to feel every emotion. It's normal to feel anger, sadness, resentment, hope. Everything is across the board. But don't take it to that extreme. That's where we all get in trouble. And just be kind, because you don't know. You have no friggin' clue what anyone is going through. Your road rage because somebody was slow to go on when it was green. You know what? They were waiting for the hospital to answer. You just don't know. So just chill out, everybody. Just chill the fuck out, really. It's just worry about your own life, your people, taking care of your mental health, your well-being, because in the end, all we have is ourselves and our minds and the love we have for ourselves. If I did not love myself completely, there is no way in hell I would ever put myself out there. When I first came out with my book, I was not promoting it in Miami in South Florida. I was like, no way, this took place here. I don't want to promote it there. And I had to heal from that. And now it's like, okay, here's my book. When can we do a book signing? Which will be coming out very shortly. So it's just really remarkable. And I can tell you, because I'm 54, my life is just beginning. I have been homeless. I have 17. I was homeless at 32 with my daughter. We were couch hopping. I couch hopped as a child. I mean, oh my gosh, it's just exhausting. That's why I wrote a book, because people would say, tell me about yourself. And I was like, really? And then I made a trailer. But my sizzle reel needs a sizzle reel. So that needs to be broken down. So there's so much to me. So if all you see is sparkle and giggles, then thank you, because that means I have healed. If you want to mock me for being all sparkly and, oh, she's a space cadet. Okay, but you know what? I'm happy. And I'm alive, and I feel like a human disco ball that was little pieces of glass broken together and put back together to illuminate and shine. And I think on that illumination note, I am going to end this episode with wishing so much love, guys. You are all so spectacular. Please don't let the opinion of others decipher who you are or your self-worth. You are all magical. You are all spectacular. Never let anyone dull your sparkle, and never, ever, ever, ever let anyone burst your bubble. It's World Suicide Prevention Day. If you know anyone and you mention, hey, there's 988 out there, one person, you could be saving a life. I promise. Okay, much love and peace, and thank you guys for listening.
Thank you for tuning in to Fabulously Flawed. Remember, every Tuesday and Thursday, it's your time to join Marni and Taylor, the mother-daughter duo that's redefining family time with a twist, putting the fun in dysfunction, one episode at a time. Craving more? Visit us at fabulouslyflawed.com. And don't miss out on the feel-good vibes with our exclusive merch at fabulouslyflawed.net. That's with 2 Ds on Etsy. Keep your sparkles shining and spread that fabulous energy.